Pouf was a being that thrived on control. When the world around him matched the ideal he sought within his mind, he was content. A world where he served the perfect king, a flawless ruler of all species. Pouf held a deep understanding of both emotions and logic. He could read the feelings of those around him effectively to the point of mind reading, and could use logic to manipulate any situation in his favor. Everything he did to make sure the outside world matched his world of thought. Logic and emotion, two aspects of existence that at first glance may appear to be opposites, but in reality, one cannot exist without the other. The world of thought is an exhilarating yet dangerous place. Put too much importance on emotion, and one's actions will lack forethought, possibly resulting in catastrophic consequences. Put too much importance on logic, and one will become detached from the ever-evolving emotions of themselves and those around them. This disconnect can lead to one existing in their own world, divorced from reality. Pouf's logic was unrivaled among the royal guards. His ability to view situations from multiple angles and deduce the most tactfully sound course of action shone in stark contrast to Pito's impatient curiosity and Yuppie's dutiful ignorance. The logical approach Pouf used to manipulate his surroundings was mirrored by two of his Nen abilities, Beelzebub and body reconstruction. Beelzebub allowed him to break his body into tiny clones, surveying his surroundings from multiple points of view and relaying the current situation to the original. He could also reconstruct a full-sized clone that was indistinguishable from the original, using it to manipulate those that stood in the way of his goal. With body reconstruction, he could change his appearance at the molecular level, even allowing him to perfectly mimic voices. With this, he could manipulate others using his logic as a means to his end. When it came to Pouf's relationship with emotions, there was a striking duality. At first, his ability to read the emotions of others was a useful tool in maintaining control. After all, being able to ascertain the emotions of others was a necessity when it came to manipulating them. This intention he originally held resulted in his ability, Spiritual Message, allowing him to make the aura of those that came into contact with his wing scales opaque, making their mental state clear with 30 different emotional hues. Yet, even though he saw the importance in understanding the emotions of others, he would often use his beloved logic to refute the emotions he saw before him, particularly when it came to himself and Meruem, two beings he held to the standard of perfection. In those two cases, emotions were, to him, nothing but a nuisance. Both his desire to manipulate others and run from the emotions he feared were mirrored by his abilities, Cocoon and Hypnosis. With the former, he could envelop another being in a cocoon and grant them their own Nen abilities when they emerged. With this power, he could not only turn others into Nen-wielding soldiers to do his bidding, he could also encase himself in a cocoon to confuse his enemy, representing his fear of opening up to the insanity slowly enveloping him. When it came to the latter, having others ingest his wing scales would allow him to hypnotize them if they had the strength of a regular human being, mirroring his propensity to manipulate everyone he could. His insanity began to grow as the reality before him drifted away from the reality within his mind. In the beginning, he could predict every outcome easily, but as Komugi influenced the king more and more, the flawless king meant to rule all began to change before his very eyes. The cognitive dissonance between reality and his perception of reality would cause him to use his precious logic to refute the emotional changes occurring before his very eyes. Deep down, he knew what was happening to the king, even if Meruem didn't know himself. But Pouf didn't want to admit it. As Meruem found himself teetering between ant and human, Pouf knew what was happening, but whenever he saw his king lean towards the side of ant, he redirected his fear towards himself, saying that he'd made an incorrect assumption, rather than admitting to what he was seeing. It was easier for him to hate himself than open up to the world not matching his ideals. When faced with Merum's revival, Pouf was presented with the perfect opportunity. Merum was now a blank slate, and he intended to manipulate the king to fit the mold within his mind. To him, the one responsible for the change in the one true king was Komugi, so he would do everything he could to kill her and manipulate the king into being who he wanted him to be. But alas, it was a losing battle. The king was who he was and couldn't be manipulated. In the end, Pouf's dividing nature caused him to impart on a fruitless journey, a goal with no end. This has been Evan. Thank you for watching. Huge shout out to my patrons, and congratulations to Omar Totelpa for passing the Secret Hunter exam. Once I have one more patron, I will be opening up a private Discord server where you can ask me anything. We can talk about my future content, have a conversation, whatever you like, for as little as $1 a month. So I'd be honored if you checked my patron out. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye.